I don't celebrate Thanksgiving because I don't celebrate the colonizers' holiday. And I haven't in a very, very, very long time. Just because they don't know their history doesn't mean that I don't know their history. Thanksgiving is simply a celebration of genocide. Genocide, religious indoctrination, and mental colonization. It's a celebration of that. No, thank you. I can break bread anytime with anyone and not celebrate the colonizer. Okay.
Please stop asking me my Thanksgiving plans because I don't have them. I'm not celebrating that holiday anymore. It's not a holiday about being thankful. If it was, the whole world would celebrate it, not just this country.
Let me tell you something. Thanksgiving is canceled. I'm not, the day of a free plate or a free meal is over. I don't know if you've seen the grocery prices, but they're high. I've been grocery shopping for years. I've never seen food this expensive. And you know stuff is bad when you go to Walmart and they have the option for you to use a buy now, pay later service on your cart of groceries. That's disrespectful to society. The fact that people are out here financing ingredients so they can pay for a tuna fish sandwich, that makes absolutely no sense. Let me tell you something, y'all. There's a few people upset. Oh, you mean I can't get no macaroni and cheese and little ham? No, you can't get none. No, and by the way, you should be Thanksgiving is every day. You should have Thanksgiving in your heart. When you wake up, you should just be glad to taste the crisp, refreshing air. Tell the Lord thank you. Tell the Lord.
Y'all realize that if we just decide to take this holiday season off, everything will collapse, right? Like if we just decide we're not doing the holidays this year, we're not going to spend a bunch of money on Thanksgiving, we're not going to spend a bunch of money on Christmas, we just decide we're all taking this year off and we're only getting the bare minimum of what we need. We're not going to go to Black Friday. We're not going to do any of this. The entire system will collapse. The only thing that is keeping this system up right now is the fact that people are still spending money to survive. But everybody's broke. Everybody's broke. So why don't you talk to your family? We'll talk this out, decide we're not going to do the holidays this year. And if you have kids, obviously buy your kid a toy or something, or go to Toys for Tots. I'm trying to get as many toys as I can for the Toys for Tots kids, obviously. But you don't need to buy your new gadget. You don't need to go to Black Friday. We can all just say we're saving our money this year. We're not doing it. And most retail stores get a large percentage of their yearly money in November and October. That's what kind of gets them through the winter. Let's just not do it this year. What do you guys think?
Thanksgiving is coming up soon. It's just barely a week from now, and people are still canceling it. Remember, people said before that they are going to cancel Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And being that Halloween is gone, and now it is barely a week from now, then we have Thanksgiving. And some of the people still stand their ground that they are not going to celebrate Thanksgiving as usual. But there is also another group of people who say that they must celebrate Thanksgiving with their family and they're not going to welcome their MAGA family. You remember what happened last year after election? The MAGA family were not being welcomed in Thanksgiving, and the same thing has started happening this year again. So others were saying that instead of benefiting or enriching these big corporations, let us stop celebrating the Thanksgiving. So there are mixed reactions about it. So guys, let us unpack this episode together. Welcome back to Afrojudy's channel. Kindly let me know what you think about it in the comment section below, and give the video a thumbs up and kindly subscribe if you're coming across this channel for the very first time.
Listen, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving anymore. But if you were to ask me, like, what things do I mentally associate with it aside from colonization and genocide? But like going back as a kid, like what was Thanksgiving to me? I think the things that pop into mind automatically, and probably for most people, is like food, family, football, and the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I can remember this being on in my home and watching this, and at least for me, the Thanksgiving Day Parade was probably my first exposure to Broadway, like Broadway musicals. Don't come from a really cultured family. Broadway wasn't something we discussed, but I would see Broadway performers and hear the songs in the parade, and it was one of the first things that like led me to understand and know what that was. In fact, out of the 97 years there has been a Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, the last 50 years or so, Broadway musicals and Broadway performers have featured heavily in the parade. And yet for some reason, Moms for Liberty and this offshoot group, 1 Million Mothers, wants to boycott the Thanksgiving Day parade because they claim it is pushing the LGBTQ plus agenda. And why do they think that? Because out of all of the Broadway performers that will be involved, 2 of them this year happen to be non-binary. Alex Newell, the Tony Award-winning performer who stars as Lulu in Shucked, and Justin David Sullivan, who plays May in the musical and Juliet. Because of that, they say that it's pushing the agenda.
It's that time of year again where everybody's starting to wonder, why are people skipping over Thanksgiving? And it's a lot of things. This year, it's the economy and politics, especially in these families, because a lot of them are cutting off their family members because of the election. And then in my community, I will say one of the biggest reasons I think we are skipping over Thanksgiving is, one, a lot of our elders are holding their recipes hostage and refusing to teach. Some of them, not all of them, before we all talk about that. And my grandma does it. Okay. But also, we're now the new adults who are not taking any disrespect, especially in my community. And then with the rise, well, it's always been there, but really the rise of Friendsgiving, like people would rather do 7 Friendsgivings than actually sit at the dinner table with their actual family. It is very interesting. And then the whole cultural thing of how Thanksgiving came to be. It's a whole cultural shift that we're about to see, and it's about to be very interesting.
You want a fun little Thanksgiving fact? There's an entire protest movement called the National Day of Mourning because the Thanksgiving story that we were all taught as kids was so false, so sanitized, and so offensive that Indigenous people literally had to create a counter holiday just to correct the lie. Festive, right? Yeah. Most people think the National Day of Mourning is some new modern activism thing. Nope. It began in 1970 and the origin story is unreal. That year, Massachusetts invited a Wampanoag leader named Frank James, otherwise known as this guy, to speak at this fancy state Thanksgiving event that was meant to celebrate the 350th anniversary of the Pilgrims Landing. And they all expected this guy Frank to give some warm, cheerful speech that was wholesome and made people feel good. They expected him to praise the Pilgrims and promote unity. But Instead, he wrote the truth, baby. His speech talked about colonial violence, land theft, broken treaties, slavery, and the absolute devastation that the Wampanoag people suffered after helping the English literally survive. He pointed out that the Pilgrims did not, in fact, bring peace. They brought disease, war, and displacement. It was a powerful and factual speech that was based on the Wampanoag people's oral history and documented colonial records. And what did the state officials do when they read it? Oh, they banned it. They told Frank James that his speech was inappropriate and inconvenient and would ruin the celebratory mood. They literally offered to write him a new speech, a fake one, if he would agree to read it. They wanted Frank to stand in front of white officials and school children and lie to them for their PR benefit. And Frank straight up refused. So instead of delivering his speech at their ceremony, Frank gathered Indigenous people from all across New England, walked up to Coles Hill in Plymouth, and delivered his speech outside, publicly, defiantly, and truthfully. And hundreds of people joined him. That moment became the first National Day of Mourning, and it's been held every Thanksgiving ever since 1970. And here's the part that I feel like most people don't know. The first gathering wasn't just symbolic. It was a direct challenge to the United States myth surrounding Thanksgiving. Indigenous groups were tired of watching the entire country get around every year to celebrate this myth. You know, the one version of history that we tell everybody where everyone's holding hands and sharing a meal and it's all happy and peaceful, all while we're straight up ignoring the epidemics, the mass, the cultural destruction, and the land theft that followed. The National Day of Mourning exposes the difference between that cute little pageant kid version that we've been fed our entire lives and the documented version of history and how it actually happened. And the movement just kept growing. By the 1980s and the 1990s, hundreds and then thousands of people gathered every single year. They held marches. They read names of tribal members that were lost over generations. They demanded recognition of Indigenous sovereignty. And they protested ongoing issues like broken treaties, child removal, and race in federal policy. And in recent decades, speakers have also called out modern problems, like the missing and murder of Indigenous women, tribal land disputes, environmental exploitation, Native child welfare cases, federal underfunding of Native healthcare programs, and police Because for Indigenous communities, Thanksgiving isn't just about the past. It's also about what the US is doing right now. Meanwhile, most Americans have no idea that this protest even existed. And that's exactly the point. The whole reason the National Day of Mourning even formed in the first place is because the country was, and still very much is, uncomfortable with the truth behind its very own holiday. The movement's core message never changed. You can celebrate gratitude and community, but do not pretend that Thanksgiving is historically accurate. Don't pretend everything was all peaceful and loving. Don't pretend Indigenous suffering is ancient history. And don't pretend that the fairy tale version of Thanksgiving wasn't manufactured to hide the violent reality of colonization. So when you're sitting at the Thanksgiving table and somebody brings up Pilgrims and Peace, just remember, there's an entire parallel holiday happening at the exact same time because the original version was such a lie that people had to build a whole counter tradition just to tell the truth. And if you thought that was crazy, just wait till you hear where all of our Christmas traditions come from. Everything you know is a lie.
So, year 2 of not having the holidays with my family. Because I am a person who thinks that everyone deserves rights. Rights to their own body, rights to live, love who they want to, rights to eat, all of those things. And my family, some members do not think that. And it's hard. Like every day I see tons of videos of people like, oh, can't wait to get to the holidays with their MAGA relatives and, you know, say all this stuff. And I don't have that because I'm not invited. And not all of my family is MAGA or supporters. But the ones that are not, just try to keep the peace and don't talk about it and say things like, there's nothing you can do about it, so get over it. And I'm not gonna get over it. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not, I can't really get over supporting people who have sex with children. I'm just not, it's not something that I can just be like, oh, well, you know, can't do that. So, it's hard. And I have, you know, my husband and my kids, and it was good last year. We have fun. It's wonderful. I'm like the luckiest woman in the entire world. Like literally, my family is amazing. My children are phenomenal. But it's hard for me because when I was younger, I had 36 first cousins. I still do, but 36 first cousins. So we didn't need friends. We didn't need any friends. We had our siblings and our cousins, and I had the most amazing childhood. I really did. Like, it was just fun. And, but holidays were always filled with like all of my aunts and uncles and cousins and everybody having fun. And I'm like the most nostalgic person you will ever know. Like, I live in a house that was built by my grandpa, 2 houses away from where I grew up. Like, I want to own my parents' house. Like, the memories and everything, I'm very, very nostalgic person. So to have, and a lot of my cousins have moved away, and I want to say we're about 50-50. I don't really know all of my cousins' political affiliation, or, you know, viewpoint on human rights, I like to say. But it's hard. It's hard not having those big, huge family gatherings anymore. And now I don't have my smaller family gatherings anymore. So it's rough. But yeah, I guess. How are you guys doing for the holidays? You know, let me know. Has this really impacted you? And I'm thankful, you know, to know the truth. I don't really think, I'm one of those people who I don't really think that this administration has changed a lot of people. I just really think that it's opened our eyes. So now we can see what's going on. But it does affect us a lot. And it's hard to hear, the words, well, when you get over this, we can all go back to our regular life, because I don't see me getting over this ever. I don't want to get over it. I do want you to come to your senses and stop supporting people who have sex with children. I'm such a weirdo. Okay, well, have a great day, guys.
Well, of the videos I've watched, let me say that around 80% of people are going to boycott the holidays, the Halloween, the Thanksgiving, Christmas, and even New Year and any other unnecessary holiday, because it is not only the black people who are doing it. I've seen majority of the palm colored people joining the black people in boycotting all these holidays, because if you look at the history of Thanksgiving, you know it very well, and that's why majority of the people are canceling it. And again, another reason as to why some people are canceling it is because of whatever the government of the United States is doing to its own citizens. Instead of protecting the citizens, it's not doing that. It just want the citizens to continue enriching the big corporations. And American citizens said, no, not this time. We are not going to do it. And as from next week, 25th of November, remember there is a massive mass economic blackout in the United States up to 2nd of December. It will last for a week, and it is going to affect these big corporations. Remember, if the Americans decide they are not going to spend their dollars, the black people have decided that they are going to keep their black dollars. They are going only to support the black owned businesses, but not the big corporations the way they used to do. They are not going to make any spending this holiday. And some of the corporations have really tried so hard to rage bait the black people so that they can buy the black Santas. There are also brown Santas in the stores so that black people can go there and buy them, and even some black Christmas decorations. Like, they are literally trying their best to bait the black people to fall in trap and go support their businesses. And they say no, no, this time round we are not going to do it. And again, I've seen majority of these palm colored people, they are saying that if it is a must they have the Thanksgiving and celebrate with family, they are not going to welcome their MAGA families in the Thanksgiving, and still they are going no contact with their MAGA families. It really annoyed some of the MAGAs, because they said that going no contact with the family because of politics is not a good thing. Is not a good thing at all. Yes, I know people have different political stances. So if you decided to support someone who doesn't care about people, this is why you are being cancelled in your family. This is why your family is going no contact with you and not going to invite you during these special holidays. Yeah, like I told you, not all people are going to boycott these holidays. There are some people who must celebrate the holidays to feel good. And that's why I told you that we have two groups of people in the United States. And I wish that they could stand together. They could have one stand so that they can show the United States government that, whatever you are doing to us is not good, and you should adjust your ways of treating the American citizens. And those people who are going to celebrate the holidays, I don't know if they are going to spend their dollars at the big corporations, or where are they going to get their food, because they said they must celebrate with their family. And again, those magas who are so mad that they are not being invited at the family, you should check your ways, because you have seen whatever you've costed the American citizens. Right now everything is getting expensive, and that's why majority of the people decided that they are going to boycott all these holidays. They are going to celebrate nothing this year, and even next year, January, the 1st of January, New Year. Because after spending your money in celebrating all these holidays, you know very well that back to school will hit so hard. You need to buy a lot for your kids. You need to pay rent. It is waiting for you there. And there are some bills that are waiting for you to pay. So you will come again and start regretting the reason as why you overspent for the holidays and not keeping some money to cater for the back to school stuff, to cater for the rent part, and this is how people are going to drown into debt come next year, 2026. It is not going to be easy on some people, and the way January sometimes is always so dry on people. So guys, let me know if you are still boycotting the holidays, if you are still boycotting the Thanksgiving and Christmas, or you are going to celebrate but you are not going to enrich the bigger corporations. And again, the black people said they are going to only benefit and support the black owned businesses, which is good because it's a way of growing together as a community. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate your massive love and support. Let's keep the conversation going and let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. Until next time, peace and love.